Hello and welcome to B-Movie Enema, the series. I'm Jeff Arbuckle, your friendly neighborhood B-movie proctologist. That over there is my trusty companion and partner, Nurse Disembodied Nurse. I hope you are doing well today.
Well, Jeff, I gotta give it to you straight.
Uh-oh, what's wrong, Nurse?
Actually, nothing. I'm doing pretty rad.
Well, that's just tubular. This week... Say, what you got there?
I'm not really sure. It's something that seemed to almost fall out of the sky, or I guess maybe the poop chute?
Oh, let me see.
It's this black disc.
Whoa, did you hear that?
Yeah, that happens whenever I refer to this thing.
I don't know if that's weird, interesting, or dumb as shit.
Probably all three.
So, what do you think that thing does?
I don't know. At first I thought it was kind of like one of those frisbee things that you see in Tron. Remember those things?
Oh, hell yeah, I do.
But then I tried throwing it around like they do in that movie, and it just bounced off the wall and hit me in the face.
Yikes.
So then, after I came to and got off the floor, I treated the bruise on my forehead, and then I had forgotten what you use forks for, or what cereal was.
Ooh, you probably have a concussion.
I probably do. What's the number 4?
Why don't you take a break and maybe put a cold pack on your head or something, and I'll get things going with this week's movie.
Sure thing, imaginary fairy person.
Swell. Well, this week we have Alien Private Eye. This peculiar little treat from the late 80s is about what else? A dick from outer space. This movie is the brainchild of Vic Rubenfeld. Rubenfeld wrote, directed, cast, produced, and edited this movie as an almost one-man crew. Rubenfeld is a bit of an interesting guy. For this film, he took the credit Victor. However, he didn't make another movie. He did, under his Vic Rubenfeld name, create the CBS series Early Edition. Now, Early Edition was not a show that I watched, but I definitely remembered the show being on and the premise of it. It starred Kyle Chandler. Chandler, of course, has been in some pretty big movies, including Peter Jackson's King Kong, the most recent 2 Godzilla movies, King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, and the Academy Award winner Argo. He also was the lead in the quite popular Friday Night Lights series on NBC. But in Early Edition, Chandler's character, Gary Hobson, received tomorrow's Chicago Sun-Times a day early. Apparently, he'd receive at least one early edition every day. The first came at 6:30 a.m. no matter where he was, even if he wasn't home or, I suppose, in Chicago. There was also apparently a cat that would accompany the newspaper. So, knowing the future, he'd be able to help stop tragedies or bad things that would befall people. Now, I hesitate to say this was the first of its kind to have a series that would have someone with some advanced knowledge or sense of what could happen to a person, but I do think Rubenfeld's website is correct in that it probably certainly helped inspire other shows like this. Heck, even CBS recently had a show called God Friended Me, in which a guy gets Facebook messages from an entity that appears to be God with information about people who needed help. Though I would tend to think that that was more inspired by shows like Highway to Heaven or Touched by an Angel, but it does follow the same basic premise of Early Edition, someone who knows something about a person and attempts to help them. Anyway, Early Edition also had a few notable people in the cast. Regulars and recurring actors included Fisher Stevens, Christy Swanson, Tess Harper, and William Devane. Now, I mentioned that Rubenfeld had a website that explained all of this, and you can find out about him there. And he has written a book about a rock band. He founded the company Rubenfeld Research Associates that analyzes data and studies the market so their clients can move more successfully and launch products and target clients and all of that stuff. But he also does webinars that mentor folks on how to tell suspense stories. The site says that he's an innovative Renaissance man, and, well, I kind of can't argue with that. But let's get rolling on Alien Private Eye. I'll check out how Nurse Disembody is doing to make sure that she's recovering from her injury from that stupid disc that she has.
Gosh, I feel much better, but what was the name of the alien private eye?
Limero.
Lemon?
Limero.
Layman?
Limero.
Lesbo.
Limero.
Lemon lime sprite.
Limero.
Lemstray.
Limero.
Liberal?
Limero.
Live roll.
Limero.
Lima beats.
Limero.
Limo.
Limero.
Lemrod.
Limero.
Lesbro.
Close.
Limbro?
Closer.
Lemro.
Yes.
Phew. Okay. Lemro is super cool. He's got a white Michael Jackson jacket look to him. He's got a bitchin' soundtrack. He's got the dance moves. He can definitely pick up chicks. Oh, and this almost feels like a cheap porno. Lemro leaves his hat on while having sex. He goes butt-ass naked, but leaves the hat on?
That's Limero for you.
So apparently he's getting dragged into a thing that other people from his home planet are dealing with. He's first approached by some chick named, what was her name?
Electra.
Shakma.
Electra.
Electron.
Electra.
Electric.
Close.
Electricity?
Electra.
Ramrod.
Electra.
Electra.
Yes.
God damn. Maybe I do still have that concussion. Okay. So she's also being followed by another guy. You know, the walking advertisement to not start smoking or you'll end up talking like a gremlin. What's that guy's name?
Scamma.
Scanners?
Scamma.
Sandlot?
Scamma.
Scarface.
Scamma.
Peter Lorre.
Well, kinda.
Scabby Me?
Scamma.
Scrappy?
Scamma.
Scrapper.
Scamma.
Skullbutt.
Scamma.
Scumbucket?
Scamma.
Lemro.
Scamma.
Scammer.
Close.
Scamma.
Yes.
Sheesh. Okay. So they're looking for this thing that looks like my disc.
Yeah, I really think that maybe you need to do a little more study of that thing that you got from the poop chute. It might be bad news.
Yeah, we probably don't want a bunch of aliens to show up and start bugging us with their questions and stuff.
Although,
What?
how many quiplets do you think that thing's worth?
Probably at least 1 million.
So, it's obviously worth something.
Maybe it has some sort of purpose that we're not aware of yet.
Maybe take it to the lab and see if it has some other intrinsic value other than being a spooky disc with alien writing on it.
On it!
And while she's working on that, we'll get into the next portion of Alien Private Eye. Alright, so Alien Private Eye is about a guy, a real cool guy named Limero, right? Well, in the opening minutes of this movie, Limero saves a foxy babe named Renee from some guys who appear to just be mugging her. But soon, Limero finds out that this foxy babe is being kind of shaken down for information about this black disc. And that the muggers were after. But the muggers follow a man named Kilgore. Now, he's got a gang/cult of his own of people who are all hooked on a drug called Soma. Now, Soma is the name of the drug being taken in Aldous Huxley's novel Brave New World, so how's that for some highbrow shit? Anyway, these two halves of this disc came from the planet Styx, which happens to be where Limero, Scamma, and Electra are from. Apparently it fell into some sort of a wormhole or black hole or something, and emerged over here on our side of the galaxy, where it ultimately fell to Earth. Now, we're going to learn more about Soma and the troubles it causes, but we see some people hanging out with Kilgore who get hooked on the stuff, and it seems to be extremely addictive. And Kilgore kind of seemingly controls his gang with this stuff. Now, Electra claimed the disc was an ancient Egyptian relic, while Scamma says if the disc is put back together, it will become some sort of a thermonuclear device. Now, as for our bad guy, Kilgore just recently went solo by double-crossing his original crime boss. And he's got this skull and crossbones thing in one of his teeth. And we'll see what's up with that in the final act. But anyway, Renee's brother, a football player, got injected by Kilgore because he and his pal stood up to Kilgore for messing about with a girl that the bad guy ultimately gets hooked on the Soma stuff. And Kilgore likes to get back at people by sticking them with Soma. He even does it to Limero when our hero sneaks into his hideout. Kilgore is one bad dude.
Jeff!
What?
I figured out what this disc does.
Well, don't keep me in suspense, nurse.
Alright, get this. If I take this disc and put it against someone's butt, not only does it give the patient an incredible sense of euphoria, but it also instantly relieves their gas.
So, it's a fart disc.
It's a fart disc.
Okay, but wait a minute though. You mentioned a euphoria from it too.
Yep, I sure did.
Is it addictive?
A little bit.
Whoa.
What?
I'm pretty sure we shouldn't be doing anything with our patients that end up being addictive.
I'm sure it'll be fine. It's probably only as addictive as caffeine. I hope.
You used the disc on your own butt, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, God.
But it really did feel really good.
Gosh, I don't know, nurse. I think we should really think about this long and hard. I'm all for a really big and satisfying fart, but the idea of the euphoria part, that seems
Pretty cool.
dangerous. Look, let me get back to the movie and let that finish out, and then we can discuss this maybe a little bit more, okay?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, but you gotta promise me that you don't use that disc on anyone else until we talk more about it, got it?
Okay, I won't.
Great. Okay, folks. I'm going to load up the conclusion to Alien Private Eye. Then we'll come back here after the movie ends, and I got to figure out what's going on with this stupid fart disc thing. And there we have it. Limro brings down the Hitler-loving, acid-spitting, crazy bad guy Kilgore by punching him right as he is going to spit that acid out at Limro from his tooth thing, and he swallows it. Now talk about accidentally winning the movie by total dumb luck. Now, most importantly, the final act begins with Limro and Renee's brother having to first kick the side effects of Soma. And it's really important to realize that coming off Soma is almost impossible. The withdrawal is incredibly painful and quite strong. So Renee's brother is in the throes of that withdrawal pretty much from the first time we saw him earlier in the movie. He's shivering, he's having violent fits. He is just generally in a bad way. Now, Limro gives us the breakdown of exactly how much of a problem Soma is. First, it's the most addictive drug ever, though Limro says addictive. Second, feels almost as good as having sex, even though some people are definitely reacting as if it burns their brains when they take it. Then, if you do it 5 times, you're hooked for life. If you do it 200 times, you die. Okay, so how do you quit it? Well, once you hit that 5-time limit, if you try to go cold turkey, you die. But what happens after that 5th time? How do you quit Soma then? Well, you have to do a 100% blood transfusion, but as Limro says, only Keith Richards could afford that. But I also have to kind of believe that Keith Richards has had some Soma at some point in his life. But yeah, so kicking the habit is hard to do. The good news, neither Limro or Steve, which is Renee's brother, has hit that 5-time limit. They can quit cold turkey. It will take 3 days to detox fully, and they get a hotel room and begin the painful process of kicking Soma.
Okay, Jeff. I've done some more tests and studies on this fart disc.
You didn't test it on yourself or anyone else, did you?
No. It wouldn't matter if I did or not anyway.
Oh?
Yeah, as it turns out, it really is just a fart disc. The euphoria is the satisfaction of that body-cleaning fart that explodes out of you.
Oh, so not addictive.
Well, not unless you really like the feeling of letting off a giant butt flapper. So, no. No more addictive than any regular massive release of endorphins.
Huh, well that actually sounds pretty pleasant. So, no shaky or sweaty withdrawals?
Nope.
How's your head? Still a little hazy from that concussion?
Well, I'm not sure.
Uh-oh.
Did the bad guy in this movie pray by saying, "Oh Hitler, thou art in hell, help me find that disc"?
Yeah, he sure did.
Oh, great. Then I'm all good there too.
Well, that's fantastic. Now let me bring up a few more things before we finish this up. The movie stars Nicky Hill, or Nicholas Hill. Hill had a couple of dozen credits to his name. He did a lot of action movies, and he has a bunch of credits with titles like Fist of Iron, or Raw Target, or Martial Law 2, or Warrior of Justice. So yeah, he was mostly in action flicks because he was an accomplished martial artist. However, his bio on IMDb is kind of bonkers. It speaks of him growing up in a home where addictions, the occult, and abuse were rampant. He started drinking as a kid, claiming it was to fill the hole in his heart and soul. And even though he became a pioneer in cage fighting in Brazil and Russia, he would eventually get into movies, after which he became an alcoholic, then also got addicted to porn and sex and drugs for, I don't know, like 15 years. That even led to him having a stutter when he talked, and he ended up having shaky hands too. Then he became super religious and started acting as a self-help guy. So I can't deny that I'm glad that, he's no longer addicted to booze and drugs, but I do hope he also still got some of those bitchin' dance moves.
Wow, yeah. I hope he still likes to go home and instantly turn on his stereo to dance for his lady friend.
Yeah, maybe he got the chance to go back home to Styx. I hear they have silver grass.
Mountains 10 miles high.
5 moons.
10 suns. 10 suns?
Yeah, melanoma is a quite big problem there on Styx. Now, of all the crazy names in this movie, Limro, Scamma, Electra, Steve, the guy whose name I liked the most was Scunge. If you know a guy named Scunge, you better believe he's looking for some hench work. Anyway, I think we belabored this week's episode long enough. Care to give your final opinion of Alien Private Eye?
Sure thing. When starting Alien Private Eye, I was really worried that you sent me a porno. The way it was shot, the music, the outfits, the way it felt, it all screamed porn movie at me. But once I got it started, I really did love the 80s music and the clothes. Lemro was one cool dude who just wants to go dancing with a sexy lady, and who can blame him? But he's got car chases, drugs, money, fight scenes all over the place, titties, aliens who talked like gremlins or claimed they were from France, evil gangs guided by the hellishly divine Hitler, and let's face it, everything Lemro said about Soma, about it being addictive if you do too much, quitting cold turkey being dangerous, it being highly illegal and making you feel good, well, that just sounds pretty much like every drug that's ever existed. And this movie really did have it all. Also, Lemro had a secretary named Susie and a buddy who we only see a couple of times who says that cerveza is the breakfast of champions, and that's kind of like the best line of the whole movie. And for all of this, I must say I would score Alien Private Eye 4 poops out of 5.
Alright, well I knew you'd like this one, Nurse.
You knew right.
It's time to close up shop this week because I gotta hop in the old interstellar B-Movie starship and pick up some produce from those underwater farmer dolphins on Styx. See you next time as we watch another movie that I'm sure has nothing to do with aliens whatsoever.